I work with perception shifts for a living. When I was 15 years old, I opened my mouth and I made certain wishes and requests. Specifically, if God exists, then I can prove it. I want. I want. I said, I want to prove that God exists. And I said, I want to be a philosopher when I grow up, a sage, so wise that I just sit and talk all day, and people come from miles around. They will travel the globe just to speak with me. That is what I wished for. That is what I want. And then I proceeded to cram my brain with every subject matter you can think of. I tell people I study psychology, philosophy, and sociology. I studied every religion that I could get my hands on, with the exception of one, because the universe felt I wasn't ready for that one. Imagine how surprised I was when I found a religion that I not only had not studied, but hadn't even heard of. And I deliberately Googled and searched so many different encyclopedias and so many books on every different branch and sub branch of every religion. They're all saying the same thing. They are just using different metaphors, but they're all saying the same thing. I studied architecture. I have a severe passion for architecture. I don't know why. I do know why. It's because I looked at a man one day and I said, oh, I wish I had his brain. And I got his brain. His name was Eric, and he was The Phantom of the Opera. It was my favorite book. It was my teddy bear. I read that book over 20 times. I slept with it every night. I just now realize it's because I wanted to be Eric. He had studied so many different topics, and without even realizing it, I pursued each and every one of his topics. So for 15 years, I studied music theory. I wanted to be a composer. I have ballads written. I have choral writing. I even have 2 operas written. And my God, I should go back to that. Oh my God, I don't want to think about it. I had them written before I was 15 years old, too. I had 2 full operas written before I was 15. I didn't even think about it. It did not take me long to realize that when I say I want, I get, to the point where I'm very careful with saying the words I want, because it happens. About 2 years ago, May, it was May of 2021, I said the words, I want to fall in love with a man so deeply that he'll break my heart and I will never be the same. In less than 4 weeks, I met my imp, and he did break my heart so deeply that it transformed me, and I will never be the same. So what I speak, it sets things in motion. There's been little oddities like this and really big oddities like this my whole life. Now, a lot of people chalk this up to witchcraft and intuition. I've researched physics and I've interviewed or neuroscientists. I go in with my knowledge and my questions and I bring it all around. I studied art and painting. I play the piano. I sing. I danced ballet. I studied the rise and fall of the Roman Empire, Christianity, the history of. I studied as many ancient texts and the psychology of religion. Yeah, these are my credentials. And then I wrote 4 books. One is was an award nominated the year it was published, and it is compared a lot to Prince of Tides. The knowledge and perspectives in that book is equivalent to a doctorate's dissertation. And then I have 2 books. This is book 1. And I noticed something when I was writing it, and as I wrote it, it's not like I was writing out of creativity. I understand now what creativity is. I was not writing out of creativity. I was writing out of memories that weren't mine. I was writing and accessing the energy pool. I am a goddess, a real one. I am a goddess. I am goddess imagination, goddess of manifestation. I understand manifestation to a science. Manifestation is what makes me a goddess. I have thought about this, suspected it, and have heard the voice in my head for decades going, "You're different, you're different, you're different." And I once spoke to a couple friends of mine. One is a religious leader. How do you step into the role of religious leadership and spiritual leadership and not abandon humility? I did not feel it was ethically decent to step up and say, "I'm a goddess." And I heard all this narcissistic third party gaslighting go off in my head. Arrogant, conceited, how dare you? And I have the psych skills to go, "Oh, look at that. It's the neighbor kid. He's in my fridge eating my food." So I start sending them home. You don't belong in my brain. Get out. I know who you are. You're all the Christians in the world who don't want to hear this. I know who those third party voices are. It's all those people out there who would love to kill someone like me. But that's when things got interesting. I wrote a letter to my perfect fifth last night. And I said something to him that, well, I made a lot of confessions to him. I told him these are all the things that I've never said to you before because I was too scared, except I'm not scared anymore. I have made fear my little bitch. I am Queen of the Darkness. I'm the one who gets raped. And a week later, I have my subconscious pulled back together. And instead of letting it eat me apart, I think, how can I use this to learn? How can I use this to grow? And I make shift after shift after shift. The subconscious is not stagnant, it forever moves. So if you're not pulling it, it's going. So you have to constantly, because it's always wanting to go, because that's what they do. And I spent a lot of time worried and afraid of what people would think. But now I can prove it. The thing is, I am a goddess, a real one. I am reincarnated. I have memories of Tara. I have memories of me when I first came to be. But I'm not the only one. So listen to me very carefully. Every single one of us is a god or a goddess. And every one of us has the power to create and destroy. And when you figure out manifestation, you realize you have a power to create or to destroy. With the energy pool, I believe, but when a person is conceived and when they are born, they pull from the energy pool. And when you die, all the energy that you pulled into you and your own goes back to the energy pool. And it will come back again, and it will release again. This is reincarnation. This is immortality. That's why many of us have past memories of past lives. Scientists are getting closer to the energy pool. They have found it. They're measuring it and poking at it because those are the kind of people scientists are. They've got to poke at it. So I'm going to make this very clear to you. When you achieve humbleness to the point where you realize you really don't know anything, and you know enough to realize you don't know anything, that's stage 1. Stage 2 is when you get so good at the power of manifestation, you can manifest total destruction. Putin's doing it right now. Putin is a living example of what happens when a god of destruction forgets that he's a god. He wages total war and destroys millions. I don't destroy. I'm a pacifist, so I don't destroy. I am not the only one. I am just the first. And I know, finally, that the reason why I'm here is to teach you all how to wake up from the matrix. The world is small because you're thinking small. Go big, bigger. You know, when I was coming into myself, I always had that voice in the back of my head, rippling down my spine, going, "You're thinking too small. You're still thinking too small. Go bigger. You're thinking too small. Go bigger." So I'm going to tie all of my little stories together. When I sent this letter to my partner, and I told him that I'm not afraid anymore, that kind of freedom breaks all hold on you. And that is the secret to not caring. I don't care if people are going to try and hurt me. I know I can take it. I don't care if I make a lot of religious people angry. I didn't say they were wrong. We're actually all right. Once they calm down, maybe they'll become open-minded to hear me. There was one other time that I had this happen to me. It was when I found out that I had multiple personality disorder, dissociative identity disorder. Let's change the name a million times because we were wrong the first time. Well, they're wrong the second time too, just so you know. Waiting for them to figure that out. So, with dissociative identity disorder, multiple consciousness disorder, that's really what it is, just multiple consciousness disorder. So, I'm going to call it that. So, when you have multiple consciousness disorder, there is this moment where you realize you can do and behave any way you want, and you can always blame it on an altar. I shrugged off this massive weight of having to hide who I was. I'm walking naked through the field, and everybody else is looking at me like, "Wow, there's somebody streaking." And I just wanted to be naked. Yeah, that's me. And that's imagination. I purposely brought imagination out because I wanted to tap into that personality, because I wanted to be that free. I am that free. There were other days where I wanted to be a badass bitch. So I deliberately triggered Kalan so that so that I could be badass. I would have an excuse to wear leather. And then it got to a point where I realized I don't need them anymore. So I integrated 3 months ago. It's been really interesting learning the integration stages afterward. It starts off with just you at 8 years old in your brain, or whatever age you first split. And you can feel nothing, and there's no sound. For the first time, there's no sound. Oh my God, was it quiet? I'm still getting used to this. I'm still getting used to it. It's been all of February, March, April, May. It's been 4 months. And I'm still like, oh my God, it's quiet up here. Wow. It's been 43 years. Well, 42 years of them talking and arguing, and they're gone. And I'm just like, it's quiet. And as soon as it got quiet, my insanity levels dropped. But then it's I'll have a vision like now, and I'll smile and go, "Oh, look, it's imagination." And then I'll get angry like I did yesterday, and I get all built up, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to take this down." And I go in there, and it's, "Hey, Colin, That's a little bit of Colin coming out. And I'm learning something I've never had to learn before, which is balancing all of them inside of me. God, it feels so good to be integrated. But when you have that level of, I can literally be and do whatever I want. When I came out as imagination, I was able to just wallow in my goddess. Yep, that's right. I'm a reincarnated goddess. That's right. I had people walking up to me and literally bowing to me, worshiping me. Some people can feel it when they meet me. Recently, there's way too much evidence for me to refute this anymore. I sat down and wrote an article before I began, and I wrote down a logical argument to prove why we're gods. I proved. And then I went, Anna, you're the goddess of you're the goddess of manifestation. You are imagination itself. I am imagination itself. I am imagination personified. That's how I was able to do the work I did. This was something I put in motion millions of years ago. I have past memories. Sometimes when I have visions, I can see my future, and sometimes I can see the past. So, because time doesn't exist, time does not exist. That's the first lesson I learned. The definition of a god is an entity with the power to create and destroy. They are immortal. They are humble enough to know everything. Let me rephrase that. Humble enough to know that they don't know everything, but wise enough to know everything. There is a memory I have of there was a fight between my imp and I. I don't know if he and I were fighting or if it was somebody else. But things went horribly wrong, and a blast went out. At the center of that blast I made a wish. I wanted to fix it. I knew I had broken everything. I walked away with a confused imp who doesn't even know who I am. And I knew I just wanted to fix it. So I made a wish. And being the goddess of manifestation, I was able to set several things in motion all through time and all through milestones that would ensure in this lifetime, near the end, that all the pieces would align so that I will be trialed, tested, find the imp, heal myself, transform, and remember. So that when the right combination of energies come together in the pool on the day I was born, I could conclude what it was that I manifested all those years ago, that I want to fix this. Because during that explosion, all of us forgot we were gods. But we still had the power to create and destroy, didn't we? So, this is what you've done with the place. When you master manifestation, you have the power to create and destroy. And for those of you who believe in the energy pool, believe me, it's a lot bigger than you think it is. I know a lot about the energy pool. My intuition is tuned in high, all because I knew to make a few wishes when I was a child. Wishes like I would read Sherlock Holmes and say, I wish I could be that smart. I wish I could be that logical. So that when I read The Phantom of the Opera and I said, I wish I could be just like Eric. I predicted car accidents. My intuition is just turned on. A lot of us have turned on intuition. I'm not better than you. I'm not better than anybody. We're the same. I'm just the first. Now, some of you are going to call me crazy, and I don't care. Because when you're publicly raped for 5 years, and when you're humiliated in front of your entire chosen family, you kind of don't care what other people think. And when you go through your greatest fear, being raped again, and you go, this again, you realize in that moment that you have nothing to fear because you are Queen of the Darkness. You made fear your little bitch. And recently, yesterday, I made guilt my little bitch. And suddenly all the suppression and pressure and guilt and voices in my head saying, you got to keep this under wraps, you got to keep it quiet. I went, yeah, why bother? Why try and hide it anymore? I've had this voice in the back of my head going, you're bigger than this, you're bigger than this. And I would go, what is it I'm trying to do? And the universe would yell back at me, think about it. What are you trying to achieve? And she'd grill me and she'd walk me through it. And I would get to this point and be like, well, based off of logical deduction, I'm a goddess. And then I would immediately reject it. And that's the confusion that I have lived with my entire life. Because I can logically prove that we're all gods. And I can use Abraham Hicks to prove it. And the bioenergetics that I've been studying, and the physics and the quantum physics and the neuroscientists that I've been talking to, boom. I can prove that were gods. That's right. And this is the belief that I was rejecting most of my life because I figured it out a while ago. The first thing they teach you in therapy and in psychology is you create your own hell. You have the power of control. You have power. That's what abusers take from you. They take authority and they take power. I've been trying to be a psychologist, and I'm not. I don't have a degree. And to be blunt, most of the psych work that's out there is garbage. I know. I've been through it. I was able to look at it all and go, oh, you guys have it all wrong. No. You guys are way off. This needs to go here. Oh my God. Get out of here. So I redid psychology. And then I step into the ethereal world. And I went, oh, okay. All right, guys. Dude, it's, God, so much noise. Everyone's screaming. And everyone's going, you're right, you're on. And I'm going, hello, have we forgotten one basic fact? That right and wrong is ethics, which is an opinion. And that beliefs are not facts. I don't believe facts exist. Yeah, okay, that's not true. On a materialistic plane where you guys make up your numbers, your measures, and everything that you guys need to measure what's going on the material plane so you can take it out and speak of it in language, as soon as you pull it out of that atmosphere, it's not going to work. As soon as you put that into a different plane, your data's garbage because it's an opinion. Think bigger. You think your material is going to work over on their planet, their galaxy? You're only measuring the little stardusts inside your galaxy. And then you're going, okay, wait, I got the answer. I know what's going on in the universe. And I'm looking at you going, no, you don't. You're way off. You're still using material plane measurements on a material plane. What are you doing? You think those are going to transfer into like Vulcan land? Not going to happen. The physics here only works for the physics here. The physics over there and that part of the energy pool is going to be different than the physics here. What you guys need to be doing is studying the relativity. Everything is relative. So yeah, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not going to try and be anymore. I'm not a Wiccan. I'm not a pagan. I just woke up from the Matrix, and I'm sitting here looking at this material plane going, okay, no, not for me, no. So I can teach you how to do this. And for those who have gotten this far in the video and you don't know what this is, how to create and destroy, how to remember that you're a god or a goddess, how to wield the power, and how to move with it. Because that's what manifestation is. Manifestation is a very small fraction of this. There's an entire plane of existence out here. I'm an ethereal walker. That's what I am. We all are. We're on a different spectrum. Now, I'm being authentic to my true self. Now, I'm not holding back. There is a spectrum. Scientists are over here. Ethereal walkers are over here. Ethereal walkers, a lot of them like to call themselves empaths. I don't like to use that word. You're ethereal walkers, people. Now, we all are sensitive to it to some degree. Some people are really turned down to it, and some people are really tuned into it. Okay? You can be a little bit, you can be a lot of it, you can be all the way over, you can be all the way over, you can be right in the middle. Okay? You can have a hunch You are tapping into the ethereal plane, the energy pool. The energy pool is where all of our souls go when we die. All of them. Plants, cats, dogs, animals. That's heaven if you really want to call it that. It's the energy pool. It's like the best thing I can explain it is in Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Odo. I don't have to say anymore. If you've watched the show, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That's it. That's the energy pool. I recognized it when I saw the show. I saw it and I went, home. That's the vortex. That's the frequency. Now, I'm changing the way I'm doing things. That's why I did this video. I'm shutting down and I'm completely, well, I'm not shutting down. I'm just shifting because the company that I'm building right now isn't matched up to me. So I'm going to be shifting it from here to here. I'm going to lose people who are not there for the right reason, who are there for medicinal purposes. You know what? If you want the crappy traditional system that's available through your insurance company, oh, and by the way, that kind of therapy is designed by your insurance company, by all means, go have fun. I am not looking for those people. I am looking for ethereal walkers. I am looking to the people who can relate to this video in any way. If you feel it, if you sense it, if you know it, if you call yourself a witch, if you see things, if you're looking for an answer, I know what you are because I am one too. But I'm looking for people who are willing to invest in this or willing to be humble enough to be quiet and listen. I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot of material to produce. I am not capable of doing any other kind of work. But this. What does a goddess on earth do to make money? She becomes an oracle. There you go. What else am I supposed to do?